A-level maths is by far the most taken subject at A-levels, and it has been for a while, and for a reason. It is the most applicable A-level subject, and it can open a whole range of doors for you. But having said that, A-level maths is one of the most difficult A-levels there is, and you might be unsure if to pick it or not. So in this video, we'll cover everything you need to know about A-level maths, and should you pick it or not. Now, firstly, I would just like to talk about how useful the subject is. It is referred to as a facilitating subject, which just means it can widen up your options, and universities love it because it is applicable to most things. A-level maths can help with your other A-levels such as accounting, biology, chemistry, and especially physics. And if you're not sure what you want to do at uni and you are good at GCSE maths, then A-level maths could be a good choice to pick. There are many courses for which you will be required to do maths at A-levels to get into that universities. Just as an example, to do computer science at Manchester, you're required to do maths at A-levels, but you're not required to do computer science at A-level. And there are many degrees for which A-level maths will make one of the essential combination of subjects required to do that course, such as medicine. So just to sum it up, whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go, A-level maths will always come handy. Now, at most colleges, you'll be required to have at least a grade 6 in GCSE maths to be able to do A-level maths. But as A-level maths is hugely demanding and there is a massive jump from GCSE maths to A-level maths, then having a grade 6 may mean that you will really struggle with the subject. But this in any way should not stop you from choosing the subject if you are willing to put the hard work in. And even if you did get a grade 8 or a grade 9 at GCSE maths, well done, but you may still struggle with A-level maths because the lessons will start to become more content heavy and harder, much harder, especially in the second year. Normally you will have 5 hours of lessons each week at your college. That will be the same for your other A-levels, and you'll be required to dedicate around 4 to 5 hours of independent study if you want to do well. Now make sure that you can manage that 4 to 5 hours along with your other A-levels and your other commitments. Okay, now on to the equipment. Please don't buy any of these really cool geometry boxes. You will not be using them at all. All you'll need is a pen, maybe 2 pens with the amount of questions you'll be doing in case one runs out, a pencil, a ruler, and a calculator. Now you might have the old GCSE calculator, but that won't be good enough for A-level maths. There are some functions in this new Casio Classwiz that aren't available in that old calculator, and you'll need to be using them. I'll just add a link to the description for the specific calculator. Now some people will choose to buy the big graphic calculator. It can draw graphs out for you, and it generally tends to be more useful, especially if you're doing further maths or thinking of doing maths at uni. But it is more expensive at around £100, and it's not compulsory. If you can afford it, then go for it. I didn't use it myself and still managed to get an A star, so the choice is yours. On to the actual maths course. So the whole maths curriculum is split into 3 parts. And so first the pure part, so pure maths, that will roughly make about 2/3 of your whole curriculum. And then you have the statistics and mechanics, equally making around 1/6 of the whole curriculum. And please don't call them impure. So in pure maths, you'll be covering the fundamental of maths, and that will be what you're more used to. So there will be trigonometry, gradients, vectors, as well as differentiation and integration. These are the pillars of A-level maths, collectively called calculus. In mechanics, the content is quite similar to that of physics. So you'll have projectiles, their velocity, their angle, ladder and walls, friction, pulleys, all that. Then finally, statistics. This will include things like data handling, probability distribution, and statistical tests. And there will also be a large data set which will be chosen by your exam board, such as for Edexcel, it was just data from weather stations. And that's quite boring, but it'll never be more than 5 marks, so don't worry about it. Okay, now on to exams. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go through how exams work for Edexcel as the exam board. Now it will be slightly different for other exam boards. Okay, so at the end of your A-levels, you will sit 3 2-hour exam papers. Each of them will be 100 marks, so that'll be 33.3 recurring percent of your overall grade. And paper 1 and paper 2 will be purely pure, so just pure maths. And in paper 3, you will have the impure math, don't call it impure, statistics and mechanics, and each statistics and mechanics will be 50 marks each. You will have a separate exam booklet for each statistic and mechanics, and you can do them in any order, usually whichever one you find easier. Now, one great news, if you already didn't know, is that you are permitted to use your calculator for all of the exams, so you don't have to worry about adding 7 and 8. It's 15, by the way. Now, you'll also be given a formula booklet that has pretty much everything you need and a lot of other many useless things, but you will just get used to using it. And by the time you sit your A-levels, you will have practiced so much that you'll just remember the formulas anyways. Now, for maths, there are many resources available. Personally, I'm just not a fan of learning from textbooks, but there are many textbooks available, and there are so many resources online, such as on Maths Genie and Physics and Math Tutor, as well as many YouTube videos, for example, by TL Maths. So you will never run out of resources for A-level maths. Now, if you did really well at GCSE maths and you just enjoy maths and you're thinking of doing maths at uni, then you might consider doing further maths. Now, it is more difficult, but you can always drop it if you're taking that as a fourth and if you're finding it hard to manage. People tend to drop it after the first year, as in the first year of further maths, you've basically covered all of the A-level maths content. So you'll just be going through that again. So nothing will be new to you, and that can be really useful for A-level maths. Now, if you have decided to do A-level maths, what I would highly recommend is to go through the fundamentals of A-level maths, such as differentiation and integration, after your GCSE exams. Now, there are plenty of resources available. You can watch plenty of videos on YouTube, and that can be really useful, as that can give you a real head start for when you actually come on to do A-level maths. I did the same, and I found it very, very useful. Okay, now finally, my own personal opinion on the subject. I will be completely honest with you, A-level maths was my favourite subject. I just enjoyed doing A-level maths. I could just do the questions all day. I could do them in my free time. But having said that, it was a difficult A-level, and at times I really struggled with it, especially in the second year. But I was lucky to have great teachers and a good network of friends who could help me when I needed help, and I could offer that help back to them by teaching them, and that just enhanced my learning even more. So to do well in it, you have to make sure that you understand the concepts and the methods as you're going along, or it can become very difficult to catch up. So ask for help when you need help. By the way, if you're currently doing GCSE maths and you would like some support in the form of tuition at reasonable prices, then click the link in the description. I hope this video has been useful to you, and good luck.